And now, back to Cloak and Dagger with host Thane Riddle.
Hi. We have a guest. Genius, Renaissance man, cherubic and angelic figure, John Robert Gier.
Thanks for having me on.
Tell him about yourself.
Damn, I'm weird. I guess to sum it up, I took a quarter ounce of mushrooms in 2012 and then realized, the truths that I thought were true were more like an illusion. So I realized I need to stop sacrificing the present for the future. And then I guess that shaped who I am today. All the way back then, just by taking a huge amount of mushrooms, which I actually didn't know was that high of a dose back then. I was kind of new to them.
How long ago was that?
2012, I think in the fall.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. This is something I used to ask guests, but I forgot to do it for 6 months or something. How have privacy and security come up in your life?
Privacy and security. Well, let's see. The shirt I'm wearing now, GameStop. Yeah, I've got shares in several accounts, including at the computer share, where shares are actually in your name, most secure. And so, yeah, I think when GameStop kicks off, I've been saying this for 5 years now, but it's inevitable. I'm going to have to make sure that my passwords and login information are as secure as can be, and I'm kind of working with a friend right now to set up something, basically a dedicated computer where I don't do anything else with it except for financial logins.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I guess you might want to look at cubes too. I mean, hardware isolation is good. In some
I
ways
do have a
better.
ghost phone. I did hear that in the commercial just now. But I'm not sure. It might be a little bit outdated as far as getting updates. Is that a big issue?
It's something worth caring about, maybe. And I mean, I like Graphene OS better than Calyx. I mean, Ghost phones can come with either, but I feel like he usually used to sell them with Calyx. But whatever. And Cubes is something you'd have on a laptop or something, usually. But it's pretty cool. It's you isolate shit in different VMs, basically. It's a whole OS built around that. But anyway, it's cool. You should look into it. But anyway, you're known among us, at least initially, for working at Liberty Heater and with Sky Huddleston. What happened? Was he taken away by some sort of sprite or something? It looked like the lights went off. You could see it fucking happening. What the fuck is going on over here? I mean, if his power went off, wouldn't he just drop out? Or I guess we could see the lights go down before, it's all tight timing, right? That's something else. That's something else, guys. I'm going to play for... Oh, you can't hear me. Well, maybe you should rejoin or something. Yeah, you should rejoin. Man, that's weird. It's fucking... I could see his lights turning off. I can easily play for time by... Oh, there you are.
Hey.
That was crazy.
Yeah, just I couldn't hear you for a while, and then just rejoining helped.
That was crazy. The way your video looked, it looked like your lights went off. That's what it looked like to me.
Really?
Unless I'm hallucinating.
I had a weird issue waking up today. I live in the basement of my parents' place, and one of the pull lights, on a pull cord, that was on this morning, and I'm like, "Hey, Mom, Dad, did you they didn't come down here. And so, I mean,
Whoa.
I've had like some weird stuff happen here before. Maybe we can get into that later if we have time. But yeah, that was kind of strange today. So it looked like the lights went out.
That's what I saw, and I don't know if anyone else can corroborate this or if it's on the recording, but it looked to me like you faded out over the course of a split second, like I thought it looked like the lights were going off. But maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I didn't actually see that. But yeah, that's cool. But yeah, Liberty Heater working with Sky Huddleston. That was what I initially associated with you with. You want to talk about that shit?
Yeah. 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 I met Sky at the 2021 Energy Science and Technology Conference. It was in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, like the northern tip of it. And yeah, I'm like, hey, I see you're from Missouri, or I'm like about an hour away from you, just in St. Louis County. Could I like volunteer for you sometime on the weekends? And I was working at a power plant at the time. And he's like, we were actually looking to hire our first employee. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I mean, 1/3 the pay, but doing something that actually mattered. So I'm like, yeah, of course. So I quit that job. Worked with him for about 3 years, and when I left, he didn't really need me much anymore. So that's kind of one of the reasons. And number two, I kind of want to do some other stuff. I'm hearing a little bit of reverb on my end. Are you hearing that?
I am. I bet it's Rayo's fault.
Testing.
It's Rayo's fault.
Oh, I can still speak through it. So I was unable to go to that ESTC conference in 2023. And then they canceled it for 2 years. The first 2 years they ever didn't have it. They just wanted to break. And so this year in June is the first time I have the opportunity to come back. So Sky is going to be presenting this year. I think it's like June 23rd through 26th. And he does have a working demonstration of his Burke engine. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
Right. Yeah. That's something pretty exciting that I want to talk about.
He says it's not. He's still working out some vibration issues, but he's slowly but surely making that better each week.
Yeah, I was going to ask for updates on this. Like, I don't know. How would you characterize the progress that's been made?
It's not as fast as we originally thought in the first year and a half, but progress is being made all the time on that. He's got more than one prototype. I forget the size of this. How many cc's that was? Oh my gosh, he's told me so many times. I forget which size, but he's got one main one that's most refined that he's going to be bringing to. I think it's in Spokane this year. And then some others that I guess have a little bit more vibration. I think he's focusing on just that initial one mainly first. But yeah, that
For
would be
those who
amazing.
don't even know what the Bork engine is, explain it to them and why it's such a big fucking deal.
Well, even running off of gasoline or diesel, just that I can run off of other things too. It'll be cheaper to have a generator running off of that completely off grid than to buy energy even in like the cheapest places in the country by far. But this, I mean, I only know about engines through osmosis through Sky and my friend Brady, but it's got enough compression that it could actually burn water vapor, like 100% water vapor being used in the engine. However, that would take a bit of I don't know what you'd call it, like remodding of the engine. So Sky did hire somebody else that he says this is like the one guy that knows more about engines than he does. It's just he's got decades more experience on more like different kinds of engines that not many people work on. And he's like, you know what, we could do a mixture, and with one attachment. He said, I think up to 80% water vapor and 20% fuel, like alcohol, I think would be best, you said, or could be diesel. I'm not sure why alcohol would work better. But yeah, I mean, without a complete refit, just one added piece and 80% can be water, 20% alcohol. That sounds pretty good too. And that's not
That's
even
great.
including his engine that he did DMT once, and these DMT entities showed him an even more efficient engine than the Burke engine in an exploded view and of it running, and said, "Don't come back here until you've built this." So he's got that in like a computer in CAD, and the math works out and everything. He just doesn't have a working prototype of it yet. But I think he's focusing on just doing the Burke first, and
Does
then
that have
just
anything
one
to do
step
with
at a
the
time.
Tesla turbine, or is it like a total other thing?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Does that have anything to do with the Tesla turbine, or is it like its own thing?
No, that's his own thing. He is working on that too with a larger version of one of his stoves. And well, heck, that was back when I was working there. Yeah, this one company called, I think, Fire Chief, who have like wood burning stoves that you can run on your whole house heating like through your vents. They were really interested in that project. I don't think it's currently being worked on by them. I think that's something on the back burner that is going to happen within the next few years. But yeah, Sky does plan on having a Tesla turbine on a larger version that could like heat the entire house and provide a house. Like, what do you say, like 8, 10, 12? I don't know how many kilowatts. So basically, all the power that a house would typically need while it's burning pellets or wood to heat the house.
Yeah, that's super cool. For those who don't know, Liberty Heater or whatever the fuck it's called, you're the company
Yeah, like
where yeah,
Liberty Rocket Heater or something
Liberty
like that,
Rocket
or
Heater. Yeah, I think that's
rocketheater.com.
right.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know. So yeah, where this
Yeah.
guy and Sky Huddleston work is this company that makes like some of the most efficient, high quality rocket heaters around, which are efficient in general. And but Sky Huddleston is basically a whack job working on one of the next biggest breakthroughs in energy in like human history. The Bork engine will be huge if it reaches a point where it's usable and sellable, minimum viable product. Any other weird stuff happening at Liberty?
Oh, to me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Oh, like just in general, weird stuff.
Weird stuff? Any other weird, like cool stuff happening at Liberty?
Oh, you mean like the wishing
I don't
machine
know.
story?
Well, I mean, that's not really related to Liberty rocket heater, is it? Unless there's something going on.
No, I'm sorry. I thought.
Oh yeah, I could have been talking about Liberty in general.
Yeah. That's. I was taking that in general. I was like, yeah,
That's
okay, yeah,
funny.
just weird stuff there.
Or
Well,
maybe new products
not
coming out.
really weird stuff. It's just at the fire protection district. It's all volunteer firefighters, but they are a leech on society. I mean, they still levy a sales tax, which is a humongous amount of sales tax, and they do basically nothing. They just get like, it's like a good old boys club that gets funded by taxpayers, and they really overstep their bounds. They try to like then like blackmail him into. I guess I don't want to say too much, but since this is an ongoing court case, but yeah, they messed up, and yeah, it looks like they might be paying for some of the fraud that they've done to him and other people in the community.
Yeah, hopefully. For those interested in Liberty Rocket Heater, the website's rocketheater.com, apparently. I don't know how they
Yeah,
got
yeah.
that domain name. So we're going to talk about other weird shit because you're a guy who's interested in all sorts of weird shit that happens to be extremely cool, and you're very good at talking about it. One thing that's come up with us before is the Fogel charge barrier
Oh,
technology.
yeah, it's my obsession.
Oh, yes. Talk about it.
All right, so guy named Lieutenant Colonel Tom Bearden. Just died a few years back, unfortunately. He was really big into like new Tesla tech. So if you guys know John Bedini, who actually the ESTC conference is kind of centered around John Bedini technology. He was probably, Tom Bearden was probably the best documenter of the past generation or two of people doing cool stuff with Tesla tech. And so, I mean, I bought all of his books, and the people at ESTC were his publishing company. And then I think the day he died, they stopped selling. Like the website's down, phone numbers down. I still have the head guy's address somewhere, but as you can kind of see, this is I need to get more organized. It's somewhere down here, but yeah, I lost contact with them. But anyway, one of Tom Bearden's books is like The Final Secret to Free Energy. And it's about a story of this guy named Bill Fogel, who in the 70s, all he was trying to do was make a better car radio transistor. And he, I think the story goes, he tried for a few years in the 70s, kind of put the project on the back burner, and then finished up in the 80s. And what he came up with was so much more than just a better transistor, but it actually blocked electron flow. And I'm not exactly sure how he came about doing that. The book didn't say explicitly, but having electrons being blocked in a circuit, there was still some sort of power powering machines indefinitely, like from the Dirac Sea or the cosmic energy. And when he realizes, he's like, "Oh, yeah, this is absolutely amazing. Like this is a close to a miracle." Uses whatever this power is. I think it's called negative energy, not a bad connotation or anything. Just like it's not electrons. It's just this endless sea of energy that you can tap into. And here's one of the ways to tap into it. It doesn't overload machines. I think I've heard this from a few other guys that might be in Tom Bearden's book, like Floyd Sweet. But yeah, it's it will not like destroy a machine by giving it too much energy. But what's even more cool than that, I think, like free energy or like tapping into cosmic or the ether is probably one of the least interesting things about it, though, because it can make a bunch of, I guess, sci-fi actual science. For instance, like you take a picture and you run that through this charge barrier. Its output will be about like a 3D holographic image. So you get 2D input, you get 3D output. Now, what happens if you say have like a LiDAR, which is like a 3D model of something? What happens if you put that information in? Like, what comes out of that? I do have a 1 hour video of Fogel being in Tom Bearden's basement in Denver in '95, giving a presentation on this and doing an experiment with like, hey, let's just try it with regular like I think it's FM radio. Okay, let's have it off, now back on. And you could clearly tell the difference. Like the difference was huge. Even in like 1995 camcorder technology, you could still hear it, like clear as day, like the difference. And he says something about coherence, how even though it blocks the electrons, I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but he says that the electrons normally, if you don't have this, half spin clockwise, half spin counterclockwise, whatever electrons are, or just this explanation of it. But with this, they're all spinning the same direction coherently, and you can get much, much more information from that, which has been hidden prior to this invention. So what happens if you use like sonar? Like how much better could like anything with a sensor be? Like it's almost endless on like just using a Fogel charge barrier with basically anything that uses electricity and collects information. Like
It's
that's
very interesting stuff. Yeah, I mean, my vague I don't know about it as much as you do, but my vague understanding from what they were saying. So like it's kind of one thing about electricity that's kind of like a 101 thing. It's like one of the first things you learn if you're paying attention, um, is that the vast majority of the energy going through an electrical circuit has nothing to do with electron flow, right? Like people imagine it's like being struck by lightning or something. There's electrons are moving all the way from one end of a circuit to the other, and they're what carries the energy. But it doesn't really work like that. Most of the current electrons move at like a way less than a snail's pace or something. Like it takes ages for an electron to go anywhere. It hardly moves at all.
I've heard
Through
that.
the
Yeah.
circuit. Yeah, it's more like those desk decorations where there's like silver balls, and
Oh,
on
yeah.
one side it like hits it, and then the one on the other side moves, and the ones in the middle don't move. They just transfer the energy. Like fucking pool balls or something. Is that called a Newton cradle? I didn't know what it was called.
Yeah, that
Um,
sounds familiar.
yeah,
I
the
think
guy in the chat
Bill
says Newton
Fogel was
cradle.
saying that like a battery uses half of its energy to destroy itself. And
Right.
he also did say like the key to this is voltage, or having keeping a voltage gate open. So like that is the key to accessing the ether. And that and his charge barrier technology, combine that and you can access the ether.
Right. It's something that really fascinates me because if it's true, if all this shit is true, then it means it was right in front of our faces all along. That the non-electron flow current, like they have a technical word for that. I can't remember what that is. But the part of the current that is not the electron flow is most of it, but it is only the electron flow, I guess, that actually discharges the power source. So if you can stop the electron flow and somehow get the rest of the current, which I think with the Fogel charge barrier, they use magnetism or something. They put the coil in the first circuit, and then they use that to make current in a separate circuit. If I remember rightly, I don't know, but
That could be, as far as something that it was attached to it itself. It just seemed like this little chip he was holding. Um, so I don't know. There could be different variations of it.
yeah,
I
I
don't
don't know.
know too much on it.
I don't really know either. Um, but it's really interesting, and to me, it implies that if this shit is true, that most of and the way a Fogel charge barrier thingy works is that it pulls energy from the ether or whatever, and it's kind of like 0 point energy or fucking negative energy or whatever. Then it implies that all electrical technology was using this energy all along, and maybe most of the energy came from there. It's just that the power source got discharged as it was working. And it really raises questions like, if those energy systems are using energy from the ether, what else? Right? Like our life
Exactly.
forms using energy from the ether, are our mitochondria perhaps uh, the thing that connects with ether, and it's just like the prequel trilogy in Star Wars, or the midichlorians are what connect us to the Force or whatever. I don't know what weird Luciferian cult told George Lucas that, but maybe they're onto something. I don't know. It makes me wonder a lot of things. And the whole thing about putting signals through it, the coherence thing, that's fucked up, dude. What if that's real? What the fuck's going on? To me, it means one of two things, right? Either A, the information was always there, like in an analog source or whatever. Like when you took a picture, an analog picture, like a fucking Polaroid or something, maybe it always saved holographic information chemically in there somehow. And now we're just getting it somehow. But the other possibility is really
Yeah. Like, have
weird.
you heard of Father Ernetti's chronovisor, or like obviously Operation Looking Glass? So I'm thinking,
No.
yeah,
What is
if
that?
you get the story of Father Ernetti's chronovisor. So allegedly, story goes that this, I guess, a priest scientist, built a machine that could see the past. They could view it and they could tune it into any location on Earth at any time on Earth, and allegedly saw Jesus being crucified and other stuff like that. And the Vatican's like, oh, this is too much power for like any one person or organization to have, and they destroyed it. But if it's true, I doubt that would be destroyed. And I guess, I don't know, interesting story. But when I heard,
Some
okay, you take
Assassin's
2D
Creed shit.
input and this thing gives you 3D output, well,
Yeah, well,
maybe.
you asked the question earlier. If you put 3D input in there, then what do you get, right?
Yeah.
And some people think of the fourth dimension as being time. It's a controversial issue, but it's a possibility. But yeah, that's very fucking interesting. And if it does work in a way that is way weirder than just the information was there all along, then my thought would be that it works through correlation, through non-local correlation, the way that parapsychological phenomena does. In other words, this new information is coming from the ether too, just like the energy comes from the ether. And the ether is zeroing in on which information to grab through correlation, because the thing you're giving it is correlated with this information. So it gives you another dimension of information or increased fidelity or whatever. But I don't know, man. If the focal charge barrier is real, speaking of which, how the fuck do we even build one? How the fuck
Oh, good
does it work?
question. So I asked, the Grok AI. It was January or February of 2025, back when it didn't have many restrictions to it. I'm like, okay, yeah, you were a master of whatever I said, like electronics or esoterics or whatever. I gave it that dialogue in the beginning, and then, okay, glean all the information you can about the focal charge barrier and tell me how I can recreate it. And there were like 2 or 3 steps that it's like, okay, I got enough information online that I could get you here to there, but you're going to have to do like 2 or 3 different experiments and let me know what became of those experiments, because I need that information before we can go on to the next step. And it's, I think, 2 or 3 depending on how the first or the second experiment go. I've got that all saved still, but it was saying that I'll need like $100,000 to $200,000 worth of equipment if I don't want to just be like in my garage like Fogel was experimenting for a decade. So yeah, I would, as soon as possible. Yeah, let's go GameStop. I yeah, it's probably my a big obsession that I just have. I wish I had more information about.
Huh. It's a very promising avenue of cutting edge research. By the way, if anyone wants to call in, you can bother us. We're going to keep talking anyway. You're probably not going to call in, faggot. Anyway, go fuck yourself. PAZNIA.com/call2. I dare you to call in. I'm going to read fan messages. There aren't much. Somebody in the chat, because I'm making up shitty new punk words like fucking dark punk. Oh yeah, I counter engineering. I'm proud of that one. Dark punk. So other people are coming up with shitty punk words like agora punk and punk like the app pipe. And I'm told that Pazcraft has been called fucking Paz. Thank you very much for sharing that. And fucking god damn it, I think Avalon Centrifuge. Scrolling work. It doesn't matter. I know what he said. He asked me if I knew, or if we knew, as if we're a collective being, about Tahoe laughs. Tahoe LAFS. TAHOE lafs.org. Yes, I do. That's a distributed data storage protocol that's open source, and it's pretty old. And I've known about it for a long time. It's one of the earliest ones I heard of. I think, if I remember rightly, it's like that one and IPFS and stuff. But I would like to look at it again, though, because it's been an awful long time since I've thought about that. So yeah, I'd like to do that. And it's one of those, it's a distributed data store where there's redundancy baked in. Everything is split up across different shares. You can lose a percentage of the shares and still get the same data. And it doesn't matter which shares are lost. And Abkhazia, Respublika Abkhazia ad says, can recommend engraving seed phrases into stainless steel plates or hammering with stamping tools. It's cheap, and every normal house fire will not reach a temp that will destroy them. I dismantled some heat-treated parts from my old... I'm actually not that good at reading Cyrillic, which is my daily... I think that's a tank model, which is my daily commute vehicle, as stamps and a dismantled Shahed-type drone that crashed in my backyard for steel plates. That's great. Great advice if we come across any tanks.
What type of fucking pleb are you such that you can't remember your own seed phrase?
Oh yeah, well, having a brain wallet is a good thing.
Of course.
Unless you want it to be more torture resistant or something. You don't even want to have it, but that's a whole other thing. So we've got this motherfucker calling in. What do you got for us?
Hi, I'm just, I work at Lockheed Martin and Spurs, intelligence. And I just thought, you have a little cute project going on here. I want to learn more.
Thank you. Yeah, you got a cute project too.
Shit, you making me blush. Nah, I was just calling in, just making sure. I was fucking around with Voice Meter Banana earlier. You're not getting any feedback, right?
No, I'm not noticing anything weird.
Okay, perfect. Sorry. Just troubleshooting live on air. Yeah, just found out about all this maybe a few weeks ago, really just through Monerica, through Liberty Under Attack, and then listened to several recordings of your show. And that,
wow.
It's really entertaining. And yeah, I was talking in the chat. Was that someone's mom?
I think it was John's mom.
Might have been.
Get her on the show.
A little bit later, thank you. Oh yeah, the basement.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I tried to get the cat on the show, but it signed an NDA.
Yeah, but I was talking in the chat last night about just XMR related businesses, and you were talking today about transportation security. I was wondering what your thoughts on maybe running just a collective car rental, car proxy, I called it, just coming up with some shitty names. Whereas with the proliferation of flock cameras, those are a hot button issue. Flock cameras, Motorola cameras, just, car scanners. If, getting donated cars or flipping cars and putting them under a trust and then renting them out to randos with, Goldbacks and Monero, if that sounds viable, barring any DOT shenanigans.
I like that. It seems quite near our logistics network ideas, like the PAZNIA logistics network and decentralized logistic networks, like I think, is it Shadrach who's working on that? I feel like I'm confusing Shadrach and Dave because I did their interviews close to each other and I like those guys and they both kind of sound similar. So I can't remember which one works on. Don't tell them. But yeah, there's like a Noster logistics thing. That's cool too. Anyway, yeah, this seems adjacent to that. And that's a really good idea because I never quite thought of that. I mean, car shares, I have thought of decentralizing car shares, but I guess I didn't realize the privacy implications, which is kind of embarrassing when you think about it. Because yeah, I mean, even if you're using fake plates or you're switching out plates or something like that, like I talk about in the cheat sheet in Vonu Life 25, still, the car is recognizable. Also, most people don't have the balls to do that.
Yeah, and like plates. Yeah, someone was saying, they're beyond plates now. I mean, that's just the small legal
Right.
thing. If you got
Right.
a fucked up car, just like one bumper sticker.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Well, that's. I mean, even before automatic object recognition, that was already a danger. You know, I already told people to stay away from that shit. Anything distinctive marks. But yeah, changing cars all the time and having a pool of cars to pick from, like, that's very forward thinking. I really like that. That's fresh. I like that one. Thank you. That's helpful.
Yeah, I was thinking like, there's a lot that goes into like putting things. Well, not really a lot. Trusts are relatively easy to set up, but just like I wonder how much, like where the break even point would be if you want, like we accept cash, goldbacks, and an XMR, the same things, and how much overhead how much you would need to charge to make that, even viable with insurance. Because I mean, obviously you're just like, you're hoping that people don't get into a car crash or use it to, kidnap a child. But, you got hope in one hand, shit in the other.
Well, they are libertarians. So.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, you can't just want privacy. You always have to have some suspicious underpinnings, obviously. Otherwise, you would have just used your MasterCard and given your entire face scan to Home Depot or wherever else you're renting your trucks from.
Well, I do think it's something to research. I think at the very least, whether this initial form of the idea is viable or not, the future definitely has a decentralized version of this in store. I think car shares are going to be a thing. There's a degree of truth to the you'll own nothing and be happy thing. Like there is a certain push for people to move to renting certain things that they used to own. And it's just because it costs less to do that. Like if everyone's sharing stuff instead of the thing sitting idle, not being used, it's obviously more efficient. But there's a right way and a wrong way to do that, to say the least.
Definitely. I mean, even something as simple as I'm sharing a car with a smoker. Now I don't know what to do. Just exactly. On the implementation side of things.
Well, yeah, they can have policies for that. But anyway, thank you so much for your question. Feel free to interrupt us again. John Robert.
I probably will.
Thank you. Do you have other interesting energy technology to talk about besides fucking Bork engines and Vogel charge barriers?
Well, that wishing machine is kind of like my phone stand right now. If you want to get into that a bit.
Sure, we can talk about the wishing machine. I was going to bring that up later so that you wouldn't rage quit the show too early because we out you for burning down Shane's house. But yeah, go on. Tell me about the wishing machine.
That was just so strange. Yeah. Here, I'll turn around so you can get a picture of this better. Just a box right here with an antenna on it. Let's take a look inside. And yeah, that's just an audio circuit with a battery pack.
An audio amplifier, right?
Yeah. And then a couple copper plates. I just had some trinkets on top of here, like put some elemental mercury with some red iron oxide and a little bit of 24 karat gold, because that's kind of fun. And yeah, just between these plates here, I've got a piece of paper with my current wish on it. So the story of, I guess, this particular one is that my friend Victor was approached by like this college professor whose daughter and wife had like serious conditions, and modern medicine hasn't done anything for either of them. And he's like, you know what? I've heard about this wishing machine. He's like, I'm not sure I believe in it, but I'm going to try anything. Could you make one for me? And my friend's like, yeah, of course, I'll make one for you. So he did his thing, put the batteries in, put his wish, folded it up, put it between the plates, and story goes, his daughter and his wife were both cured from their conditions. And he gives it back to my friend.
What were those conditions?
I think his daughter, it was something with a skin condition with his daughter, and I think it was a bit more terminal with his wife. But from what I heard, from
terminal what?
Don't know.
Huh.
I was probably told, but I don't remember exactly.
A terminal lack of good vibes.
It could be. Yeah, maybe that.
It's a general principle in the universe that kills someone if they're too good at wife.
Yeah. But so he gives it back to my friend, and then I've got a pretty cool library, but this is like the only book that I collect. I've got like multiple copies of Mind Machines You Can Build, and the last chapter is the Wishing Machine. So I brought this up to where was that? That was MPLF this past year in 2025. So I saw Victor there, gave him that book, and he's like, "Hey, I actually have one of these wishing machines. It tells me the story and says, would you like it?" I'm like, "Yes, please. Yes, please. I'd love it." And I realized it like chews through AA, so I had to get rechargeable. I put new ones in every day. And what I was doing, I mean, the wishes I was wishing for were kind of more like in general, like helping the world. Like, not that I could really verify them. Like, oh, wish is done, it worked. I just did it by feeling like, oh, it's been a couple weeks, it's been a month. I'm done with this one. I want to try a different one. And what I would do is I would just step outside and take a lighter to it and just burn my old wish. And so, what was it? Yeah, just about a month ago now, in February, go down to PAZNIA and bring the wishing machine because I've told stories of it. And they're like, "Oh, can we use it?" I'm like, "Of course, yeah." But I took my old wish out and I just put it in my notebook. Like it was a really good one. Maybe I'll use it again, but I didn't burn it. I just kept it in my notebook on the table. And then what happens approximately 24 plus or minus maybe an hour later, the wish burnt up anyway. It was one of the things that I didn't get out of there. And just the timing of that is interesting. It's very interesting, the timing of that and how I didn't do that one little ritual that I didn't even think of that I always did with my previous wishes.
Well, so another factor here is that I immediately told a joke about you using the wishing machine to burn down the house, and generally a Thane Riddle joke is a prophecy. It comes true.
Oh wait, you said that before?
I said it before you mentioned anything about having burned your prior wishes. Yeah.
Oh wow.
But yeah, I said that right away because it's obvious. What you were there? You were playing around with the wishing machine. You made the video, and then right after that, his fucking house burned down. I mean, come on.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I wasn't following for a second. Okay.
I
was wondering about the what's it called, the wishing machine. Do you think these are These take just one wish at a time, correct?
I believe so. Yeah, and in fact, like, don't make it like a compound thing. Like, try to make it as simple as possible. That's what I've heard.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I was going to ask about if it's scalable to like entire vision boards or anything like that.
I mean, I'm
just burn a huge poster at once.
Well,
yeah.
You know, I think there's a much room for experimentation. I have some thoughts on this. John shared the book with me, and I read it. And what the book claims, it's funny because John doesn't use it the way the book says to use it. The book says, the book says the wishing machine can do things to living organisms that operate on instinct, such as bacteria, viruses, plants, insects, even
Africans.
Yeah, Africans. And you put something that represents the object of the wish between the plates, like a picture of the African. And the idea is that they've done experiments where like a tree is infested with beetles, they take a picture of the tree, put it between the thing, and the person who operates the wishing machine throughout the day, they think about it. They think about the Beatles dying off or something, and the Beatles fucking fall off. They die. They fall off.
Mhm.
So that's how the book claims it works. But I have a lot of skepticism and also fascination with the claimed limitations written in the book. One of the things it said in the book that struck me was he said, so you can't use it to you can't use it to influence human actions because they don't operate purely on instinct, and also you can't kill anybody. You can't do anything destructive of it. And I'm like, you know what, dude? He just spent this whole book saying if you have a self-limiting belief, if you believe that something can't work, then it won't, and that he considered not putting the wishing machine in a book because he was afraid of the power, and that also he stopped using it himself because he was afraid of how powerful it was. I'm feeling that he may have been fibbing a little bit, that he was trying to
Reverse psychology.
yeah, he's putting well, it's not even reverse psychology. Maybe it worked as reverse psychology on me, but it's more like not reverse psychology. He's trying to make you think. He's instilling a superstition in you that this won't work. You can't kill anyone or control anyone's mind with this, so then it won't work if you try. It's like how Wiccans say if you cast a black magic on somebody, it'll come back on you 3 times 3 times 3.
Oh, okay.
That's bullshit. They're just trying to stop you from doing it.
Well, the fun thing about making shit up is that you can continue to make shit up.
Exactly. So the thing that I'm making up is this. Either he made that shit up and it'll just work, or if it's really true that it only works on organisms or certain kinds of organisms, that could just be a matter of tuning. What if we tune the output that comes out of the antenna? What if we tune the frequency of the electricity coming from the power source and we change that frequency? What fucking happens then? And then there's another fucking machine in that book. Wait, what is it called again? It's got the weirdest name.
Well, mind machines you can build, or
No,
this is
I
like
mean
the second version.
there's another machine in the book that
Erroneous
it's the only
machine?
other. Yeah, erroneous machine or whatever. That one is fucking weird. Where it's the first version of it was an electronic circuit, and you put some kind of element or material on the little pad, and then the person turns the knob, and then when they touch some other pad that feels different when the knob is tuned correctly, right? And then when they've tuned it to target that material, then they can find the material in samples by sticking it there once it's tuned to that material. And it's fucking weird. And then it turned out that they could replace all the electronic components with drawn symbols, with a symbolic representation of the circuit, and that it would do the same thing, that it would still work, revealing that the electronics thing was just bullshit. It wasn't electronic at all. It was non-local correlation, like most parapsychological phenomena. I'm thinking that maybe the wishing machine and the erroneous machine could be integrated into the same machine, right? Like maybe you can tune it with the erroneous machine, and then that will change the frequency that's transmitted by the wishing
I believe
machine.
those are called radionics machines, and I think Phoenix Aurelius.
Oh shit! I've heard that word, but I mean, I know Phoenix Aurelius, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Spotify, and I think one of his Spotify, 3 hours long interview with somebody on radionics machines. Like this guy went to China and changed the weather while he was there. And then another one was an experiment in Germany with this SE-5 machine or something like that. I think that's the machine he made, where they were about 100 kilometers away or something like that, and fixed tree blight. And they're like, yeah, this isn't like placebo. Like trees don't respond to placebo. And it was like 2 years, and the blight was
Maybe they
gone.
do if you speak their language.
That could be, yeah.
Ent language.
But yeah, so I gave that book to my friend Victor, and he read the last chapter of The Wishing Machine, and he's like, I know more about The Wishing Machine than this author. So, and he's like, it's user dependent. So maybe it just depends on who's using.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, user dependent devices typically don't work for me. He's like, that's just between me and God. I'm like, okay, that makes sense, but it's interesting. Maybe like adding more intention to it. Or I had the idea recently of this looks to be, I don't know, about a 3-watt circuit board on there, plus or minus, depending just by the what batteries I have and how long I've got to replace them. About 3 watts. What if I were to do something like, I don't know, like a 500 or a 1,000-watt board?
I think it's certainly worth a try. Another thing they should try, if it doesn't work for them, is they should try magic. They should try doing magic while because it's supposed to be an amplifier,
Yeah.
right? And it doesn't really matter if that makes any sense. It might just be that it sounds like it could make sense and you could believe it. Just like the increasing the electrical power, just that it seems believable that could help might be all that's needed.
Yeah,
but yes,
chaos magic.
The author of the book did talk about that. He talked about the difference between user-dependent devices and ones that aren't. Because a lot of folks assume this applies to all parapsychological phenomena. That's not true, though. There are parapsychological phenomena that aren't known to be user-dependent in the research. For example, scrying rods, which are discussed in that book. The book discusses some basic bitch stuff: scrying rods, pendulums, pyramids. It's cool stuff.
I do have an interesting story on the pyramid when you get a chance.
Oh, go ahead.
I keep my razor in a cardboard pyramid like that. It's 3-sided. I messed up the math, so it's a 3-sided pyramid. But
it's a tetrahedron?
What used to last my razor's about 3 weeks, 12 weeks, 13 weeks, and now I think I'm going on, I don't know, but I'm approaching that again. So 12 to 13 weeks from about 3 weeks. So that does work. As far as keeping your razors in a cardboard pyramid makes them last longer.
That's right. I mean, there have been a number of studies on this. It's been reproduced. It's one of those well-researched things in the field of parapsychology. The pyramids work. Nobody knows how for sure, other than blah blah blah. I don't know, probably sacred geometry and shit. I don't know. Non-local correlation. Shut up. I don't know. That's the answer. That's the best we got. Is there any other cool stuff from that book you like that comes to mind?
Oh, from that book? Oh, well, I guess I've got a story on the pendulum. I built one, spent all this time, and then could not get it to work. Took it up to my parents, say, try this. They couldn't get it to work. But then somebody's like, you know what? Try pepper in water, and then just putting a cover over it. That worked. It was my left hand, when I had my left hand around the cup. It was slow, very, very slow, but it would go counterclockwise. And then my right hand around the cup, it would slowly stop and then go clockwise. And I'm like, oh, holy cow. So yeah, I can move pepper in water with my hands, but apparently I don't have enough power to move pendulums quite yet.
Well, it's not a matter of power necessarily. It's hard to tell exactly what's going on with but that's a psychokinetic pendulum. You know what pendulum's foolproof and works for pretty much everybody is the one where you just hold it yourself. And
I haven't tried that one yet.
Oh, it works super well. And it's easy you just hold it still and it's kind of like how Ouija boards work. Everyone holds it and no one tries to move it. It happens to be moving though. And because it's really easy to accept that you're just moving it with your hand. And maybe even that the answers are meaningful because you're speaking with your subconscious or something like that, right? it's very easy to accept. And that means the user-dependent phenomenon can emerge freely, right? Because the paradigm's so easy to accept. I'm just moving this with my hand and contacting my subconscious. And even then it's useful. You just be like, yeah, whatever, go left and right, whatever, and just see if it does the things, and you tell, okay, this means yes, that means no. And you can very easily have a conversation if you're holding a pendulum. In my experience, it works with almost anyone. But yeah, the psychokinesis is harder for people to accept and do. Is there other cool psionic toys you know about that aren't in that book?
Psionic toys not in that book. That's a good question. Not that I can think of at the moment.
Well, how about we talk about scalar waves? You want to open that can of worms?
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, Bearden talks about that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he was saying that what was it? The Chernobyl was actually not how we were told it was, but it was supposedly a Russian attack on the U.S. from a place about 80 kilometers away from Chernobyl, using Chernobyl as, I guess, the energy source for this weapon, scalar weapon. And this friendly little nation that had spies figured out what was happening and had that backfire and melt down Chernobyl. He never actually says what that friendly little nation is. And I'm like, okay, is that maybe Israel, Japan, UK? I'm not sure. He never said it. But yeah, talking about like with the Tesla scalar interferometers, like the Tesla howitzer it's known as. Have you heard of that?
If so, I forgot.
Oh, from what I remember on that, he's like, yeah, there's a few different modes on this Tesla howitzer. Where one, it just you have like this invisible like energy dome around the source of this. I think that's even seen in like a TV show, like the Dome, which that was a pretty good show. But yeah, that's like one mode, like a defensive dome. Another mode can like shoot down projectiles, and then there's another mode that can shoot down projectiles too, but it doesn't. I guess more of a broad spectrum, so you don't have to focus on something. It's just more automated, or I don't really know. But yeah, there's a few different modes of this, both defensive and offensive, for this scalar weapon.
And what is it called?
The Tesla Scalar Interferometer.
Tesla scalar interferometer. That's
And
cool.
yeah, Bearden was saying that the Russians had this tech and were just using like a dozen or so huge diesel generators to power it.
Huh. Well, now for the good people at home who have no fucking clue what we're talking about, what the fuck are scalar waves even theoretically?
Well, what is that? Like you got transverse waves where like you see like ocean waves go up and down, and then what's the besides transverse, what's the other one, like where it's just like in line where you don't actually see the wave but it's more efficient?
I don't fucking know. Inverse? I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I forget, but yeah, a scalar is like an energy version of that, which modern science says, oh no, that doesn't exist, just like the ether. But that in a weapon format, like just like a hyper efficient or amplified power, I don't really know. But yeah, Bearden was saying like the Star Wars program was around the time the U.S. is like, oh yeah, we've got this tech now, and Russia really, really did not want the Star Wars program to be, because instead of just like shooting down missiles like the public heard that this could do, like 2 or 3 of these shooting at Russia would destroy all of Russia or the USSR. Like, it's that much of a difference with the allegedly same amount of power.
Huh. Weird. You know, the way I had it explained to me once, and you know, I still don't know what I think about scalar waves, if they're real or what, but I am very interested in the idea. And the way it was explained to me once was, it's like, okay, well, let's say you got a fucking magnet, right? Maybe it's an electromagnet, maybe not, whatever, doesn't matter. So the magnetic force can be interpreted as a wave, right? And it's a fucking magnetic wave. Okay, now you take another magnet that's the same, it's identical, same power and everything, same waveform. You point it in the opposite direction so that the two magnetic fields cancel each other out. So in mainstream science, they say, okay, well, now you've got nothing.
Yeah.
Right? You've got no magnetic wave, and that's that. But the analogy was pulling on two sides of a rubber band at the same time, so that the rubber band doesn't move, it doesn't change its center, it just stays there. And you're saying, well, there's nothing, that's nothing. Me stretching out the rubber band and holding it like that is nothing, because the rubber band's not moving. But what you're doing is you're generating a scalar, where there is a scale of energy that's there. They're canceling each other out, but it's still a scalar, like stretching a rubber band in two opposite directions. You still have that tension, that energy stored in the rubber band. In this case, I don't think it's quite the same as merely energy being stored. Maybe that's an aspect of what's happening, but it seems that they claimed that was one way to generate a scalar wave, was by having two magnets cancel each other out. And they claimed that the way you would apply that, and this would be easy to test if it's true, pretty easy to test. They claim the way that you apply it in three-dimensional space is you take two scalar waves and you intersect them. So you just take these two paired magnets and then you just point them at an intersecting point, and then hopefully maybe you'll get some kind of effect. And the answer to why are there so many different effects and how do you pick one, I think has to do with geometry. It has to do with the quote unquote sacred geometry, the shape that you're somehow making, which is something that requires experimentation, assuming any of this shit is even real. Now, how do you think of the ether? What the fuck do you even think that is?
I guess in was it QED was saying it's like the most energetic nothing possible, but what was that, like 1 times 10 to the 113th or 120th, depending, joules per meter squared. So it's quite a bit of something there. So yeah, I believe like Einstein and some other so-called scientists of the 20th century were famous because of what they're implying is reality, was disproving this ether. And anybody who talks about this ether is a laughingstock. And so, yeah, I think that was really important for like centralized authorities to destroy the notion that this exists in order to control energy and control power.
Are you a fan of electrical universe theory?
Yeah. I can't say that I've fully gone through it, but the little bit of recap from a few people, that makes a lot of sense to me.
It's definitely a worthwhile thing to learn about. It's like I'm not too prone to adopting like outlandish fringe beliefs. Like I don't actually think the Earth is flat or anything. Sorry, everybody. But I do. The electrical universe theory is very convincing to me. Also called plasma psychology, And it's kind of, it's a diverse field really, because they also have other shit. They've got their own version of comparative mythology that is very interesting, where there's like a mythological, like a, what's the word? It's like a monomythological historical analysis, right? They have this premise that, if a bunch of mythologies around the world are corroborating each other, and we know that these people didn't fucking talk to each other or have any way to meet each other, then that probably means that they all saw something, or like something actually happened in history that they may not have understand, and it might not have been preserved perfectly. The story might have been corrupted over time, but it's worth taking seriously. Like if multiple cultures draw the same fucking shape, for example, and say that it appeared in the sky, or whatever, that's pretty fucking weird, right?
Giants, dragons, and flying things. Yeah.
Oh shit, man. Oh yeah, Rayo 2 interviewed Walt Thornhill. I totally Walt Thornhill, or is it Walt Thornhill? I totally forgot that. Right, he was on the Vonu podcast. He was like numero uno in the electric universe field, and the Thunderbolts project is kind of like almost the face of the movement while he was big. And he croaked just like a year or two ago. He died, and before he died, he was on the Vonu podcast. I'm talking about Fingerprints of the Gods. It's true. There's Fingerprints of the Gods is one of them. There's actually more than one person who's written a book on this, I think. But yeah, really interesting fucking stuff. And I mean, the comparative mythology thing, that's like the least interesting thing, because to me, like I love, logical theories that line up with experimentation and observation, which is what they have in electrical universe theory, and it's also what they don't have in the standard model, unless you are very convenient about what you choose to ignore. You just have to ignore all these giant holes in the standard model, and all the times that they jumped the shark trying to save it while the evidence was pointing another way. And then the standard model is cool and it can keep your attention. But the electric universe theory doesn't have that shit. It doesn't have holes. That's the thing. No pun intended, because black holes doesn't have black holes. But anyway, totally recommend it. And so to continue rambling even longer during my interview where you're supposed to be talking, John, I have my own little pet conspiracy theory about, and it connects to what you're saying, that the reason, because we know why whatever, like viruses, like or COVID-19 or whatever, is politicized in science. We know why anthropogenic climate change is destroying the world. It's the end of the world because of our sins. We have to appease the gods by
paying more taxes.
Yeah, you have to suck my dick. You have to pay more taxes. You have to give the government more power. That's always the answer. Give the government more power. Give the government more power. That's the answer to everything. But it really raises some interesting questions when you go, okay, well, what's the big deal with electric universe theory? Why are you guys, why are you totally upending all of physics? And the first thing that occurred to me was, well, it's anti-gravity. Because when you look at the anti-gravity research that has hit the public before being covered up, it looks an awful lot like it has something to do with electromagnetic gravity, which is an explanation for gravity that is commonplace among EU types. But in the mainstream, it's absolutely ridiculous, and you could never even think of it. And that seems very convenient. But I also think it's not just that. It's free energy. It's Philadelphia experiment type shit, teleportation. It's all sorts of weird shit that I think it may be that it's only logical that we would discover these things if we were operating with the right theories. And that's why the standard model is forced on everyone. Also because at this point, so many old fuddy-duddies are making money and Nobel Prizes and stuff off of it. So they just don't, it's just uncomfortable to change.
Yeah, that seems true. Yeah. Well, speaking of that, like there was a guy named Victor with a K, some Russian entomologist, last name S. I've got some books by him. Hang on a second. But his one book that I keep seeing circulated on the internet every once in a while, called My World, in English, only chapter 5 has been available, and it's like a 35-page thing from chapter 5. But I just recently translated it from Russian with AI, the entire book. Victor. 1 second. I know I've got one of his other books here.
By the way, Rayo 2 points out Symbols of the Alien Sky is a book that's probably what he meant to say. And I also agree, because Symbols of an Alien Sky is a title I've heard, whereas Fingerprints of the Gods is, when I acted like I was familiar with that, that was bullshit. That was a pure automatic social response. I do not recognize Fingerprints of the Gods. So it probably is Symbols of an Alien Sky. I don't know who Schauberger is.
Yeah, I got one of his other books here. However you pronounce that name there.
Victor
Yeah, his book.
Schauberger.
his book My World. Yeah, I'd like to get that in print. I think I can do that for like $20-$30. I guess it's a little bit longer than the other book I printed, so it might be like $30-$40 just to get that printed out in a nice hardback. But so like the chapter 5, that's the one I read. I didn't really read other than chapter 5 that the AI translated yet, because I just recently did that a couple days ago. I was talking about, so this dude knew bugs, and allegedly he made a floating platform that could accelerate quite rapidly, all because he incorporated the wings of a specific type of beetle that had the perfect geometry for that, for like anti-gravitational movement. And I thought that was a pretty interesting story. So,
well,
yeah,
you know, that actually, okay, see, this is why I knew you'd be a good guest, because whenever we talk, inspiration happens. Because you always, for some reason, I can make new connections whenever I'm talking to you. And one of those things that just happened now, well, one thing that occurs to me, let's say that that's true, that weird fucking crazy tall tale about the fucking floating disc with the bug wings is true. It implies almost that the beetle has evolved to have this wing shape to make use of some anti-gravity technology so that it can contribute less energy to flying, right? And I'm having a feeling like there's more than one case of that, because one thing, oh yeah, and EU guys point this out, electric universe theory guys have pointed this out. When talking specifically about electrical gravity, there's this one particular spider, or I mean, I don't know if it's one particular spider, honestly, but some spiders do this thing where they make like a web kite. They make a kite.
yeah,
Yeah. And they use it to float and to travel on the wind. But what many folks may not know is that these kites, they aren't just blown by the wind. They have upward momentum. They're repelled from the ground.
Yeah.
And one of the best ways to, and of course, in mainstream science, they'll admit, like, oh yeah, it could be using the geomagnetic field, right? It could be using the Earth's electromagnetic field, which, whatever. But I don't actually, honestly, I don't know if that makes sense to me, because electrical gravity makes more sense to me for explaining that, because in the Earth's geomagnetic field, you know, the North Pole's on the North Pole and the South Pole's on the South Pole. And that's how that shit works. And you've got this sort of, you know, thing that turns itself inside out, going on the outside and inside. That's the flow of the magnetic field of the Earth. So it doesn't make any fucking sense. You would expect this to work, the spider thing to work, if one pole was pointing out from the ground all over the earth, which is what electrical theory of gravity is, right? I think they say it's the positive pole that's pointing out towards the ground, and that all the molecules in the earth are like aligned. They're like polarized, and that very subtle effect creates gravity when you add up all the matter in the planet, which is why gravity appears to be a weak force. It's just an extremely small amount of electromagnetism.
Yeah, we've been told. Mm-hmm.
And that would totally explain the way the spider web thing works, because the spider web is like negatively charged or whatever. So it's repelled from the earth. It's anti-gravity. And
kind of like the beginning of a B movie, like, oh, by all physical
yes.
standards, or yeah, yeah, they could be accessing the ether better than humans. That's totally possible.
Shit, this isn't even as sci-fi as that. It's something so much easier to wrap your head around. They're just like, oh yeah, maybe the web's negatively charged and the fucking earth is pointing a positive pole up, right? Or something like that. But yeah, I mean, you never know, man, with this ether shit, because I think it's connected to, if it's real, I think it's probably connected to like everything or something, or a lot of stuff. Just a feeling I have. But yeah, I could picture a B movie like that. That reminds me of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where it turns out all the dolphins are aliens or whatever, and they all
It's
leave.
been a while for me.
But it's So Long and Thanks for All the Fish. I think it's like the second book. I haven't actually read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I just saw the movie, but I'd probably like it though. Anyway, do you have any fucking clue how to build a device that makes scalar waves? Huh. Rayo2 says, I've heard and seen that you can determine whether the EMFs around you are conducive to live by looking at the spider webs. If there's retarded mistakes, bad EMFs, perfect geometry.
Oh, yeah.
That reminds
kind
me
of like the drugging the spiders and seeing their web shapes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the acid one and the yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Well.
Yeah, well, it reminded me of coherence in the Fogel charge barrier, right? The running the signal through and getting something more pleasing because of coherence. Maybe the spider webs have something to do with that. Anyway, do you have any fucking clue how to build a scalar wave device?
Well, I have asked AI that. I think after it kind of got neutered a bit, I would probably have to upload Bearden's books to it to give it a better estimate. That's kind of what me and the AI were saying, like, oh, I don't know. This seems to be sci-fi. I'm like, okay, just assume it's real.
Training data. Yeah, you gotta not only assume it's real, but giving them the books so that they can be a subject matter expert is definitely a must.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it did actually. It did give me some other books to buy for stuff like that. Yeah, one came in today. I'm sorry, kittens. I'm sorry. Let me get up, kittens. Here, what was it? It's called electrogravitics. Kind of like talking about how the B-2 bomber was a bit more than just a really cool design.
Huh.
Yeah, electrogravitics 2. Yeah, AI wanted me to buy electrogravitics 2. Yeah, upload that to it.
Well, the title is immediately relevant.
Yeah. Yeah, that just came in. Like I opened that like less than half an hour before coming here.
Oh shit! Well, you'll have to update us soon in the chat.
Yeah.
Now, I talked to you before about how on a previous talk with you, I had a eureka moment where I realized that what's his name, John Hutchison or something, some guy from Toronto, I think. He had this thing that's known as the poltergeist machine, and I told you about that. Have you looked into that at all since I told you?
To be honest, I forgot about that, but I'm like, I'm sorry. I definitely need to look
No,
into
you
that.
don't.
Yeah.
It's seriously me asking you that is my excuse to see if I can get the guests to say stuff instead of me just ranting. But I can always just rant. The poltergeist machine it's something some of you curious channel surfers might have seen on TV. They put it on like TV every once in a while. You could find him on YouTube or something. I think his name is John Hutchison or something. Poltergeist machine. He's some random weird hippie guy who his house is a fucking, how your place, you say you're disorganized. I'm sorry to break it to you. You're a genius. Your place is never going to be organized. So Hutchison's house is fucking insane. It's full of wires going in random fucking directions. Nobody knows what the hell is going on. He's doing all these crazy amateur electronics experiments or electrical experiments. And in various spots of his house, which is the poltergeist machine, basically the poltergeist machine takes up some of his house or his garage or something. In certain spots, the poltergeist machine does something to stuff. And what it is that it does depends on where it is or how we set up the gear or whatever. So for example, you might have something really simple like no matter what object you put there, whether it's magnetic material or not, it rises up fucking 3 inches, does a quarter turn in a specific direction, then moves a little bit to the left and then drops, right? Like something like that, some weird like that. And he's also gotten other way more fucked up effects than that, like objects phasing through each other. So like he has artifacts that he's shown people on TV that where like one object has phased inside the other and ended up inside it. And lots of weird fucking shit like that. He also has crystals that he says they put off a constant voltage that's very low. And this guy has been visited by, I don't know, he might be dead now. Who knows? He's old if he's not dead. If he's not dead, he should be on my show. He should be a guest. But this guy has been visited by men in black and researchers like more times than you can fucking imagine. Everything you could think of, whatever, the CIA, the fucking everyone has been there on little fact finding missions. And the only thing, according to him, the only thing they've ever said to him is, well, we know that this isn't a hoax and that you're not faking this. But besides that, we don't know how it works. And he tells them the same story. I have no clue how it works. I don't know. My house is just I just put a bunch of fucking wires and shit. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to reproduce this. But then in these fucking TV interviews where they cut him off when it looks like he's saying something interesting, they have these little clips of him that you'll stumble on where the mask of like, I don't know how it works, kind of slips. It's like when he
Floyd
was
Sweet. Yeah, there's a. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, there's a. Bearden said Floyd Sweet is like the most genius dude on how to program magnets to make them as powerful as possible. Towards the end of his life, he added intentional lies in mixed when the truth, maybe out of fear because of those guys or something. But yeah, maybe it's something like that.
Yeah, I'm curious to learn more about that guy and what he's doing with magnets. But actually, why don't you tell me what he was making them really powerful? Like, are we talking not electromagnets?
No, I think it was just like permanent magnets. Like he would like charge them or
So he could take a
just
shitty
condition
magnet from a
them.
dollar store or from a fridge and turn it into like a rare earth magnet type strength.
Or that, or I think he might have been starting with like rare earth magnets, but just like conditioning them in a certain way that his over unity devices were like even more efficient than Bedini's. But yeah, Floyd Sweet was one of the guys that had this what do you want to call it, negative energy or whatever, actually go through his hand. I think it went through his like his thumb or thumb to his pinky or something. And he's like, this hurts more than normal electricity. Like, I think he
Normal
documented it.
electricity is pussy shit, man. I
Yeah.
invite anyone. It's good experience to have any experience with weapons that doesn't hurt you too much. And if you ever meet some faggot friend of yours who's like, oh yeah, I got a taser. You can just be like, oh yeah, tase me. Just like, no, seriously, tase me. Just get them to do it. Because you'll both learn something. You're both going to learn something. You'll learn that all it did was piss you off, and they'll learn the same thing. It can kind of make that muscle contract for a second, but it's not, electricity, whatever. That's why people shock themselves just for fun in BDSM. But yeah, something hurting even worse than that. That's
An
interesting.
etheric energy taser.
Now we're talking. See, one of many applications for skill. I'm just like the state spooks. I immediately, my mind goes to weapons. I'm over here talking about, yeah, I think we could use the wishing machine to kill somebody. I go to that right away. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, my thinking on, and actually another connection. And this is kind of like a dumb thing that a 5-year-old would say. Talking about conditioning magnets. I mean, you can magnetically condition any magnetic material by rubbing a magnet against it. That's how, like, you make a simple compass, right? Like as like a little science fair, first graders.
I remember doing that.
Yeah, exactly. You just fucking rub the magnet on like a fucking needle the same way over and over, and it polarizes it, and then it becomes magnetic. So I don't know, maybe what he's doing is related to that somehow. And once again, I can't help but think of coherence. It's all about shit being aligned, shit going the same way, being correlated.
Which is an awesome movie, by the way. Coherence is.
The fuck is
If you haven't
coherence?
seen it, I'd recommend it.
What's it about?
Oh, it's a sci-fi thing where like multiple realities based on some eclipse or something happening in the sky.
Wow.
But yeah, sorry to.
No, that's why you're here. I'm interviewing you. You're the guest of my show, John. You cherub of a man. You don't have to feel bad. But anyway, so if it's not obvious already from my implications, I suspect that the poltergeist machine, Hutchison's research, that was a scalar wave device, is what I think.
Sounds very Philadelphia experimenty to me.
And that's exactly what I was about to bring up. The Philadelphia experiments. Because why don't you tell them, for those who don't know what the hell that is, if they haven't gone down that rabbit hole?
Okay, so from what I heard, it was like the early 40s, and Nikola Tesla was actually like the head scientist on this project. And then when he realized, oh, wait, you guys aren't going to take the 0 point of every single person on this vessel, and they're like, nope, it's too much work. We're just going to 0 point the ship, one object as a whole, and that's it. He's like, no, that's not a good idea. It's not going to work well. And he supposedly sabotaged the project. And another scientist, I forget the guy's name, is like, oh, we don't need Tesla for this. We've got enough. I can do this without him. And so in 1944, allegedly, they all the U.S. military wanted was, can we cloak a ship to radar? And Tesla originally said, I can do you one better. I can make it completely invisible to the eye. And so they took all the sailors in the ship as like one unit and just had a 0 point of the thing, like if it was one entity. And the story goes, it disappeared from Side 4 like about 15 minutes or so. Maybe could have been teleported to 40 years in the future. I'm not sure. That's a separate story. I mean, I guess none of this is really fully verified. But when the ship came back, there were some sailors missing, some sailors like fused into the ship. That would probably be the worst one for me. And then others were supposedly like insane after the event. So yeah, it worked, but not
Lovecraft shit.
yeah, exactly. Like not taking the 0 point of each entity, each separate entity, and then doing it together, like Nikola Tesla allegedly said. Sounded like it had bad effects from the story that I guess was passed on.
Well,
And
no
then
shit. Because if
yeah,
Tesla was right, and each thing has its own resonance or whatever, and you're not accounting for that, then you're going to teleport these things differently, and they're going to end up not going the same way and ending up in a different configuration.
and then the 40 years later, besides allegedly that being where whatever that ship's name was wound up for a little while or however long. The Montauk Project, I guess that was the last part of the Philadelphia experiment, and that was completely shut down after what allegedly happened in Montauk, New York. You've heard of that one?
I feel like we talked about it before, but I do not remember.
So what I've heard on that was it was like a Stargate, or it was a Stargate, where they just kept sending soldiers through, like, okay, go on in, private, and let us know what you find, and like no soldier ever
What's
came
the
back
time
out
period we're
allegedly.
talking here?
And then one day, something came
Like
out
what
that
decade
was
was
like,
that?
what's that?
What like decade was that? What time period?
Oh, this was I guess 80s, because 84
Oh,
was when the otherworldly Lovecraftian thing allegedly came out of that and
oh shit.
overwhelmed their security. So, which was really interesting because the Stranger Things, and like not to spoil that for anybody, but they that was obviously the like seems like disclosure about the Montauk Project, and they do a funny little joke, like a nod to the Montauk Project, because like I think it was like the last episode or something. The guy's like, "Oh, I hear Montauk needs a new chief of police." uh, yeah. So yeah, I think like the story goes like, "Oh, sorry, my cat she doesn't jump, she climbs my leg." Um,
She's just making sure that you're sticking to the NDA.
yeah,
Oh,
she's a climber, not a jumper.
that's a strange. Sometimes cats have odd meows.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a really interesting, I guess, story on the Philadelphia experiment and then ending on the Montauk Project. And it seems like they're disclosing a lot of this. And I was just introduced to this show called Dark, this German 3-season um, show. And on X, I heard from like some like disclosure, kind of like, oh, one of my friends is like a spook and says like Dark is the closest thing to reality as far as any kind of movie or TV disclosure goes. And it's pretty interesting. It's kind of like Stranger Things, where there's disappearances or like a bit of time travel, and it's set to different intervals or a specific interval of like 33 years. But yeah, this stuff definitely exists, and I think that we're learning about it faster and faster. And it's just really interesting to see what's going to happen in the next few
Yeah,
years. Like, there's a lot of like, oh, AI is going to destroy jobs, and we're heading towards a dystopia. And I see the world as getting better and uncovering a lot of secrets that will free us more.
well, yeah, I mean, that's what technology is supposed to do. It's supposed to destroy jobs. It's supposed to make it that you don't have to do so much work, and you can be more productive and do new things and not spend as much time or take as much risk. And that's what technology is for. I mean, the Luddites said the same thing about factory equipment in the 19th century, right?
That's true too.
5-minute warning to close out. Huh.
Holy cow! Holy cow! Time
Jeez.
has flown. Hey, I think we just teleported in time right now.
Yeah, I mean, I was going into overdrive, and he said I'd have as much time as I wanted, but it turns out that he meant 43 minutes is how much time I want. Man, there's stuff Even in my notes that we didn't go over. I knew you'd be a good guest, but I didn't realize. I should have known better, because we can talk infinitely.
I've got one more story. It's not really involved in anything we've talked about so far, but it's a pretty interesting story.
Well, I'll make it quick so I can do the outro.
Okay, really quick. It was New Year's Eve or New Year's Day 2023. My parents were going to meet my sisters like 15 minutes away. Like, lock the door when you come back. I was out because we're not going to be home until the morning. I come back. I had like I think one cannabis plant I was watering. It was like 2:30 a.m. I hear my parents open the door, come in upstairs, speak, like not like kind of like a whisper, but just like keeping their voices down. The front door close, and then their footprints, like footsteps with their cadence, walk in the hallway, and then that was it. And I'm just like looking up at the ceiling, like, it's 2:30 in the morning. You guys said you're gonna sleep over at my sister's, and what are you doing here? But it wasn't enough for me to actually go upstairs. So next morning I go upstairs. My mom was there, and I'm like, "Hey, why'd you guys come home at 2:30?" She's like, "No, I just came home a little bit ago, like at 9, and your dad's still over there."
Yeah, I've had experiences like this. Even if I had the time, I couldn't tell them on air. But yeah, it happens. Anyway, is there anything you want to plug? What can people follow you in some way besides coming to the chats that we have, or anything you want to plug besides Liberty Heater?
I don't really have a website or anything. I guess I guess through PAZNIA, through Rayo.
Yeah, RocketHeater.com is the guy who hires this guy, and they make good stuff. Friends of the show, PAZNIA.com/SimpleX. Get into the chats. You can talk to John Robert Gier. Also, I'm a privacy and security consultant. Vonu podcast/CD. Talk to me. Pay me money. My next show, more transportation privacy when shipping stuff. I have no fucking clue what Building the Second Realm is going to be. We're going to be simulcasting on South by Southwest or whatever the fuck that event is. I'll leave you with a quote from Nikola Tesla. Yeah. Alpha waves in the human brain are between 6 and 8 hertz. The wave frequency of the human cavity resonates between 6 and 8 hertz. All biological systems operate in the same frequency range. The human brain's alpha waves function in this range, and the electrical resonance of the Earth is between 6 and 8 hertz. Thus, our entire biological system, the brain, and the Earth itself work on the same frequencies. If we can control that resonant system electronically, we can directly control the entire mental system of humankind. Self-Liberation Saturday will keep going for some hours still. There'll be a sundry PRM deprogramming, followed by audiobook PAZNIA, a proposed model for the Second Realm Network, then a rerun of Vonu Podcast 211, a special full issue of Innovator called Property, I think. And then the big finish is the first airing of a little Vonu Podcast special, a reading of the article Community Technology, Vonu, and Beautiful Bella Coola Wilderness from Vonu Life 25, Resurrected, which came out a few months ago, that has my privacy cheat sheet and my manifesto in it, so you should read Vonu Life 25. Anyway, don't touch that dial, boss. Stay tuned and stay frosty.
You're listening to the PAZNIA Radio Network.
Let's face it, Mondays can be a real drag. For many, it's the first day of another week, slaving away in the servile society, paying taxes to baby bombers and child traffickers. Thankfully, there's a way to unwind. The PAZNIA Radio Network Veritas Studios, light, shining bright on the horizon. A beacon of hope, a place where there is in fact room at the inn for the weary self-liberator. Every first and third Monday, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern/7 p.m. Central, Richard Dick Greaser of the Bitcoin Bugle takes over the Second Realm airwaves for Music Monday. Therein, you'll catch the best freedom and Bitcoin-oriented music, you'll hear entertaining and educational monologues, Richard will provide you with non-KYC cigarette reviews, and you'll come away being more smarter on the ever-important topics of liberation and Bitcoin. Again, the Dick Greaser takes over the PAZNIA airwaves every first and third Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern/7 p.m. Central, streaming live on Zap.stream, Rumble, Odyssey, and X. For everything PRN, make sure to bookmark the main page, PAZNIA.com/radio. Again, PAZNIA.com/radio. Cheers from the Second Realm.
Friends, fellow self-liberators, DJ Brian Freer Robot here. Listen, content creation in the modern day is easy, but getting your videos or podcasts in front of the eyes or ears of your audience is ever difficult. Not only from a growth and algorithm standpoint, but there are other hurdles today, such as censorship, arbitrary bans, and other roadblocks put in place by centralized platforms like fascist Tube. And while there are alternatives today, from Rumble to Odyssey and many others, it's extremely time-consuming uploading the same episode to, say, a half a dozen platforms. Not to mention, if you're making income from the platform, this deplatforming can be a real hit to the wallet, too. If you're listening to the PAZNIA radio network, it's safe to say you're probably already familiar with these concerns, or potentially, maybe even a content creator yourself that has run into banned videos or flat-out deplatforming. Thankfully the solution is out there, and it's called Content Safe. Content Safe is a venture founded by longtime friends of PAZNIA, Matthew Raymer and Daryl Becker. In addition to off-site backup for redundancy, they built out a user interface like one you would see on YouTube, Odyssey, or wherever. But once you hit publish once, it will deploy the episode to whatever platforms you select. This will save you time, and potentially even opens up your content to new audiences and platforms, or just gives you more time to prioritize on content. And if the worst were to strike and fascist Tube does what they do best, deleting your channel and content, Content Safe can get you back up and running quick. In a sentence, Content Safe protects your content from censorship, distributes it everywhere automatically, and keeps you online no matter what, so you never lose your audience or your income. Just head on over to contentsafe.co, again contentsafe.co, click the Protect My Content button at the top of the page, and fill out the provided form. Then, when you reach the end, use affiliate code Vonu to help support the PAZNIA radio network. Again, contentsafe.co is the website, the affiliate code is Vonu. Act now and make sure your hard work is protected or insured. Thanks for your time today. Now, back to the deprogramming.
Good day, fellow self-liberators. Daisy Free Robot here with some critically important links. First off, PAZNIA.com/books2. This link will take you to a page with free PDF downloads to books, zines, and other publications in the realms of self-liberation and Vonu. Save some copies yourself, throw them on the dark net, burn them to flash drives, store them on blockchains, throw them in buried 55-gallon drums, or whatever. Make sure they never disappear. Again, PAZNIA.com/books2. Second, PAZNIA.com/simplex. Here, you can find links to the numerous and growing selection of simplex PAZNIA chats, ranging from the General Committee of Correspondence, our Department of Technology, the PAZNIA radio network, all the way to PAZcraft, the chat group for our own self-hosted, open-source mine test server. That is PAZNIA.com/simplex. And finally, with mention of PAZcraft, there is also our own server that you connect to. For more information and connection details, visit PAZNIA.com/PAZcraft. Again, PAZNIA.com/PAZcraft. Thanks for being here. Now, back to the transmission.